When you see yourself, you gotta be yourself. I am Joe Walkowski. This is the NBA Daily Bet over on the Props Network. We might need a jauntier title to go with our amazing graphics. I've seen that intro bumper a handful of times now. I like the basketball in the upper right-hand corner. Really gives us a nightmare before Christmas kind of feel for these NBA bets. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are profitable. I flew a little close to the sun, but came out unburned last night. You roll with the Crimson Tide, and you will come out alive, living to see another day on the gambling front. So we've got a little bit of a losing streak in the past week, but our content has been great. And I think we're going to start another winning streak. So let's go to the great city of Brooklyn, New York, where the Nets are without Kyrie Irving, a once talented point guard, now getting a reputation as an eccentric crank. Kyrie's sitting out, and it came to be his personal reasons. That's why it was reported. And yes, footage surfaced of him at a crowded birthday party, which is weird because Kyrie, he's got all these like confrontational beliefs. And you know what? Those confrontational beliefs, they don't really go hand in hand with making it a priority to attend birthday parties. But, you know, different strokes for different folks. You get your aura in line, Mr. Irving, then we'll be good to go. But let's talk about Kyrie. Let's talk about Kevin Durant because the Nets are hosting the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets are 1.5 favorites in this one. And this is actually pretty intriguing to me for basketball reasons. So the Nets, we know the injuries. Kyrie is out with a personal life. Spencer Dinwiddie is out with a torn ACL. Hopefully they get him back by playoff time. But Kevin Durant is returning to the lineup tonight. And this is actually a version of the Nets I was really excited to see as a basketball nerd. And you know, a lot of times when we're placing these bets, it'll be based on the schedule or a matchup. But my favorite type of NBA bet is one that's kind of based on a basketball hypothesis. Okay? Does that make sense? I don't think it does. So let's explain further. Basketball hypothesis, we look at the eye test, we look at the record, we get a sense of who these rosters really are. And last year, slightly before shutdown and in the NBA bubble, I got the sense that the Nets played really well when Kyrie Irving was not in the lineup. That kind of makes sense. We've all had that one annoying coworker, and when they're not there, like how I didn't gender the coworker, because Lord knows I've worked with some annoying women and annoying men. So the Nets, they're trying to do their business. Kyrie's walking in the locker room. He's lighting sage. He's repeating his mantras, and he's playing isolation basketball. And this is a team with another guy, Spencer Dinwiddie, who, you know, historically has a penchant for playing a lot of isolation basketball. So without Kyrie, I actually noticed a lot of great ball movement last year, a real happiness on the team. And I don't think Kevin Durant is Kyrie Irving. I think Kevin Durant is a basketball player first. I think he's someone who his decision to go to Golden State was funnily mentally misunderstood. This is a guy who likes basketball and playing certain styles of basketball and is, you know, probably on that LeBron level where he's going to look to make the best play. Given his shooting abilities, it is often, you know, him going the route of the Slim Reaper. But, you know, I kind of like him with Karis LeVert, with Joe Harris, with Jared Allen, like Kevin Durant and a bunch of scrappy shooters who can penetrate and protect the rim. I'm pretty intrigued by that lineup. And furthermore, let's talk about Jared Allen. Jared Allen is bulked up once again. Like, I didn't think this guy would be able to stay in the NBA based on his frame, but you know what? He's bulked up again. He's up to 248. And tonight, his over under on props is 1.5, which is his season average. But I kind of like the over there. I think the Nuggets, when they're not bombing from outside, I think his athleticism versus Jokic is going to be able to give him some opportunities underneath to get 2 blocks. And for as far as the Nuggets go, Jamal Murray started out this road trip really great. He's been struggling. We have Michael Porter Jr., who's out. And like, if I'm them, I'm kind of trying to trade him for that other big piece. Are the Nuggets a playoff contender if they add Blake Griffin? No, I've seen Blake Griffin this year. It's actually not been that good. I don't think he's gone in the paint once. But maybe we can trick him into that deal. Lord knows we have enough former Nuggets in Detroit. But back to the pick. This being a pick, I have a hunch that Kevin Durant's really going to like playing with these guys. I have a hunch that there's going to be a really awesome style of Nets basketball played tonight. And the Nets, like certain lineups they trot out, are going to be more potent than others. And yeah, I had this lineup circled. I'm very excited to see it. So I do like the Nets tonight. One further point. I believe the primary defender is going to be Will Barton on Kevin Durant. I don't know if he has the length to really keep up with him, but you know, along those lines, Kevin Durant has an over-under of points this evening at 27.5, which is actually 1.8 points per game lower than his season average, and Kyrie Irving is out. So I think there's actually a tremendous amount of value in Kevin Durant over 27.5 points a game. If you're in certain books, maybe look for a parlay of a Nets win and the Durant to score 28 or more. I think that would be a really fun bet for this evening, but that's just me. Okay, so shall we move on? Are we all clear? Any questions, class? Okay, we're good on taking the Nets. We're good on taking the Jared Allen over for blocks, and we're good for taking Kevin Durant over for points, 27 and a half. Now, let us take a trip to the West, where the San Antonio Spurs face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder, featuring Lou Dort and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Imagine you were in a haunted house and my dumb ass just comes out, Al Horford. Okay, so the Thunder are playing the Spurs at 8:05 p.m. The Spurs are 2.5-point favorites here. And if you look at this matchup, you can see that, you know what, that line is pretty stable across the board. It opened at 2. Now it's 2.5, more or less everywhere. For the Spurs, they are missing my USC classmate, DeMar DeRozan. And you know what? The Spurs, they've been shooting a little bit better as of late. Without DeRozan, he's not actually playing in his set position. He's a power forward after like an entire career as being kind of like the poor man's version of Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, but that is true. He had great footwork. He loved the mid-range, and he was keeping Kobe's playing style alive through once he retired. That's just the facts. And then he became a power forward. And now they're playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, so we've been betting against OKC a lot, and they've been making us look silly. And we're going to continue to do that. Screw those guys. I don't give a. Okay, so we know that OKC is going to dominate with the guard matchups. Shai Gilgeous and Lou Dort. They're going up against Murray, and I believe Anderson's out for the Spurs. We're going to see a lot of Patty Mills this evening. And, you know, a little bit of Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker. And it's not to say these guys aren't performing, because Keldon Johnson's actually putting up amazing splits on the season. And really, I think it's the front court of the Spurs, the power forwards, the centers. We have LaMarcus Aldridge, we have Jakob Poeltl, and they're going to be going up against a washed Al Horford. So in this contest, I do think that the veteran Spurs are going to cobble together and be more competent than their opposition. I mean, they were a bad matchup with the Knicks. The Knicks, I will take the L on that one because the Knicks guards were a little bit more hurt than I had realized the last time they played. But in this matchup, I think the Thunder, they're just going to be the younger team. They don't have aspirations to make the postseason. They don't have anyone to guard LaMarcus Aldridge. And they certainly don't have the perimeter defense to deal with a Spurs offense that's going to run a lot of motion once they're using their sweet shooting big to stretch the floor. And again, I think the Spurs are the better team here. I don't think that's much of a debate here. Yes, the Thunder have been performing, but I like this matchup for the Spurs. I think it really suits them well. But if you do like Oklahoma City, there's some interesting things to be found in the player prop section. So, Shay, we always talk about him. Sometimes we rip on him. Chris Paul taught him everything, including how to not show up in a playoff series. Okay, I'm going to get a note either positive or negative about the sound effects after the show. We'll see which one it is. Okay, so Shea's averaging 21 points per game. His over-under as the number one option in this game is 17.5 points per game. Why wouldn't you pound that over? So he's got better size than Murray. I don't think the Spurs have a shutdown perimeter guy. Oklahoma City, even if they get blown out of the water, he's going to be the go-to option to create points for that basketball team. So I like the Shai Gilgeous over of 17.5. You could even, if that looks low to you, you could look at the points, rebounds, assists, because if one's low, maybe they are factoring in more assists. Maybe he played a slightly different style over the Thunder wins. I didn't notice it in the game versus the Knicks. But Shai Gilgeous, I think there's value. And thank you for pulling that up, Sam. 21.5 there. Okay, so I got a bad line here. I'm sorry. Sam, please excuse me. I have that right in front of me. That's just doing my research beforehand. A lot of the folks had flagged that on Sportsbook Reddit. It seems like it has since been corrected. It being 21.5, that is a likely stay away. I regret the error. Okay, so we can move on. Can we move past it? Can we heal to accept my heirs? And maybe you want to curse out this mother. Okay, so there's a bit of bad blood in the West, and there's a bit of bad blood going back to last season, and it's between the Houston Rockets and the LA Lakers. And it's great that Boogie Cousins, who technically won a ring as part of the Lakers last season, is now on the Rockets, and he's in the kerfluffle. So in this game, I'm probably going to be taking the Lakers here -5.5. I'm not going to take it a little bit closer to game time because of the appearance on LeBron James and Anthony Davis on tonight's injury report. We also have Eric Gordon and John Wall on the other side of the equation. So it's not as though the Rockets are just skipping into this one. So basically, it's one of these home and homes, right? And the last time these teams played, the Rockets were demoralized. They lost by 20. Christian Wood, who the Crucifix is averaging 27-9 on the season. He had his worst outing on the year. And now they're playing. There was a bit of a altercation between some of the bench players on the Lakers and DeMarcus Cousins. It hasn't gone away in the past few days. And now they're playing again. So you get to see it out. And I don't think 5.5 points is enough for the Lakers here, especially a motivated Lakers team. We know that the Lakers still kept their major pieces intact. We know that the Rockets are rebooting their rotation on the fly. And given the motivation, I'm going to expect the cohesion at 5 points by the half here. Why don't you? Will be the leader of the day. But that is all dependent on the injury report. So be sure to check it out. That's an 8:05 start. So I don't place this wager till around 7:40, 7:50, maybe even 7:55 if I'm feeling freaky. But that being the case, you want to make sure AD and LeBron are going. I think that maybe this will get to 6, but as long as it doesn't get to 7, I feel pretty good about it. I think you're going to see a motivated Laker team. You're going to see that it wasn't actually Christian Wood having a bad game. It's that certain teams with a lot of brawn in the middle, which the Rockets suddenly do, are able to really disrupt his gameplay. So look for a poor game from Christian Wood. Sammy, would you pull up the Christian Wood over-unders for this evening? Let's take a gander at those if you wouldn't mind. And I have noticed, let's go on a tangent here. I did comedy for a long time. I did comedy for a decade every single night. And I was always a sports guy running basketball tournaments. And I would do so many sports jokes that, to be honest, a Brooklyn audience had no time for. But now that I look across the NBA media landscape, I see that the nickname Crucifix for Christian Wood is catching on. That was in my act for 2 years. That's something I've been saying forever. So the Crucifix nickname for Christian Woods, it originates right here at the Props Network with Joel Walkowski. Joel Walkowski Snowboard if you're feeling modern and hip. And now while we're talking about the Props Network, smash that subscribe button, mon frere. I only say that when I'm wearing this hat. We make great content every day. I make it a personal goal, a personal driving ambition to curate the most interesting and entertaining and also informative NBA conversation I can have every single day. So you're not going to be as big a part of that party as you'd like to be unless you hit subscribe. And, this is not just a cool guy character. I trust you to know that in my real life, the New York City street ball legend is the cool guy, the rare white man who can pull off a reverse Kangol. Although I asked a lot of people to co-sign, you got to go into it. So let's go back to those Crucifix player props. Tangent done. Plug done. And let's look at the Crucifix over under 20.5. That is 6.5 below his season average. Okay, so dang, I really want to believe in this guy. And what is it for rebounds? 20.5 points, minus 115. 8.5 rebounds. So I probably go over points because he's a good shooter, but I go under rebounds because he's very slight. These are two teams that shoot a lot of threes, and threes don't get rebounded by big men. Big men don't succeed in the rebounding battles when they're the smallest guy in the low post. So let's go over for points because he's going to be motivated to have a good game. But winning basketball players, they rebound. They don't score. So when I say Christian Wood's going to have a bad game, I don't mean that he's going to go 4 for 14 from the field or anything. He may well score 25. But until he's able to hold position against Anthony Davis in the post and not have to really, dismiss my concern that maybe their best lineup against this team features DeMarcus Cousins, I'm going to go under on rebounds there. And, it could well be that he's better off as a 4 in this lineup. Like, Hachi Machi, give me the 3-guard lineup. End these games with, John Wall, James Harden, Eric Gordon, DeMarcus Cousins, and Christian Wood. Did I leave out PJ Tucker? Yes, I did. A player's Instagram account activity doesn't really weigh much on my rotations. But again, I'm an old crank. And so at this point, we've gone through our 3 picks of the day. We like the San Antonio Spurs against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are 2.5 point favorites. We like the Brooklyn Nets against the Denver Nuggets. That's one of our hypothesis bets. That's people like playing basketball. Kevin Durant. I just know it. That's our analysis there. But we like a lot of props in that game as well. Kevin Durant over points, Jared Allen over blocks, and a couple of my friends over to eat Cheetos and watch it. And our last pick was the Lakers over the Rockets, 5.5 points, but bet it late. So I am seeing some concerns about a COVID shutdown. If they need to do it, they need to do it. I trust this league to keep these guys safe. After all, they're the only professional sport with a track record of keeping these guys safe. If they need to shut down for 7 to 14 days to get rid of the malaise, then I trust Adam Silver and his wisdom and ways. Okay, I use the ways for, poem rhyme scheme because Adam Silver, he's gonna get us this season where it needs to go, which is in NBA Finals in June. They've built up enough flexibility to make it happen, but let's make some profits happen. If you want to get down at BetMGM, official sports book of myself, the Detroit Lions, and Jamie Foxx. Man, which BetMGM sponsor would you like to see star in Ray outside of Jamie Foxx? Me or the Detroit Lions? Georgia! Okay. Yeah, that bit didn't work. Okay, but you know what? BetMGM, they will match your deposit up to $500, 100% with code WALKON20. And we will have gambling talk. Don't close my eyes when appropriating a blind person. All right. Georgia. Okay, we're having fun here. Just lots of laughs at the Props Network today. Thank you for accommodating the earlier time. I will be back tomorrow at the normal time, 2 o'clock, and I'll be going Wednesday. I'll be going Thursday. Thursday evening, we'll be doing the props drop with Steve Clark. We're going to have all our best divisional weekend picks, one for each team. We'll give you the best prop bet for each team. And then, yeah, I'll do a social video for NBA picks on Friday because I'm driving to visit my mother. Yeah, so it'll be a good time. I can't wait for the rest of the content. Thank you guys for coming along with me. And for the Props Network, this is Joel Walkowski walking off.